But again, we're so glad you can join us tonight for our Focus Singles Ministry group. And please share this video. Just a few things I want to talk to you about in this brief time that we have. And one of the first things, just some tips here, is to know yourself through God. Know yourself through God. I think we often make the mistake of trying to find ourselves in people, places, and things. And we say things, I'm trying to find me. I'm trying to figure out who I am or what I'm supposed to be doing in life. What's my purpose? Why was I born? And all of those things are discovered through your relationship with God. That the more I walk with him, the more I talk with him, the more I grow in him, the more I serve him, the more we go through a process of self-discovery. For instance, when God creates Adam in the garden, he tells him, mankind, to don't eat the fruit off the tree. And, then he sends him through a process where all the animals walk before him. And Adam has to name all of the animals. But you notice God never tells him what to name them. But as Adam is working in the garden, Adam is discovering some abilities that he did not know was inside of him. And the more we walk with God, the more we serve him, the more we walk in our purpose in life, the more we discover giftings, abilities, and the more we discover us. Self-discovery is a journey. It's not like, one day it clicks and I know everything about me. I know who I am. No, we know more who we are as we keep on walking with God, because self-discovery is a journey. What I liked at 20, I don't necessarily like at 40, or I may not like it as much. And when I hit 50, some other things are going to change also. Because why? Self-discovery is a journey. And the more I get to know God, the more I learn about Christ and who I'm supposed to look like and who I'm supposed to present to the world through image and likeness, is the more I discover me. We don't discover ourselves just in person, places, and things. We discover ourselves in God. And all those other things, the community of believers, helps us know ourselves. Because you can't know yourself by yourself. So we do need people in the equation, but the primary one is God. Because after all, we were created in his image and in his likeness, not in the likeness of everybody else. So we have to learn to know ourselves, all right, through God. And I can't discover me through a person who really doesn't even know who they are, And you see people connect in relationships. They get with somebody and they're like, okay, cool. I'm going to figure out all this stuff about life, only to be just more confused after you get with somebody than before. Because why? Knowledge of self comes through knowledge of God. And when I learn to know me, I can learn to see the benefits of me in others. All judgment is projection. All judgment is projection for the most part. What we see in ourselves, we usually see in other people. That can be in the positive or in the negative. But Adam, before the fall, when Eve was presented to him, he said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She's strong. Bone represents strength in scripture. She's strong like me, and she looks good to me. One of the problems we make is we're looking for the flesh first and then looking to discover bone and strength, hoping that it's there. Now, I get it. The initial attraction is usually physical first. The usual attraction is physical first. And that makes sense because you don't know the person yet. So it's hard for you to get to know everything about them. But as I see the person, their physicality may attract me. But now after that, I need to discover, where is this individual's strengths? What are they strong in? Do they know God? Do they have a relationship with God? Are they ambitious? All those things. Because why? Somebody can look good to you. But then once you get to know them, they become less attractive the more you get to know their person. Conversely, somebody can be an individual that, you find okay, they may not be your thing, but the more you get to know them, the more attractive they become. Why? Because bone is more important than flesh. I'm not saying you don't need to be attracted to the person physically, because you do need to be attracted to the person physically. But the goal is to have that mutual attractive strength. So when age kicks in and gravity starts to set in and our bodies start to change and you don't lose weight like you used to and your skin isn't like it used to be, and all that, we still have something to connect to. We still have something internally in us that is beyond our looks changing, where this person is still attractive to me, even though their shape has changed. And even though I have changed or you have changed and the person still loves you, the reality is this, is that bone is the attractive thing. I was at the grocery store yesterday, and I think it was yesterday, and I watched this old couple flirt with each other. And I mean, they were senior citizens and they were more flirtatious with each other than I've seen some young folk. And I said, that's what I want when I reach that age. They didn't look like they looked when they were 20, 30, or whenever they met. But they had this mutual togetherness, this mutual love for each other. They found bone. They found each other's inner attractiveness. Am I making sense to y'all? So the physical, yes, is important, but more important than that is the internal strength, the internal character, the internal integrity of a person. When you're young, it's usually just all flesh. They look good, they look good, they look good. When you get older, what you want is somebody that can look good to you, but also an individual that can bring more to the table than their looks. Rory, watch this. Your primary attraction isn't just the physical, but their personality also. Because a good-looking person with a bad personality can make that individual totally unattractive. And that means for us, take care of yourself. I'm not saying, just, whatever. Take care of yourself. Take care of your physicality. Eat right. Work out. Do all those things. I'm not talking about a certain shape or size. I'm just talking about be healthy, but also work on your inner person. Because why? Our inner person is what can hold somebody. Because if physicality was the only thing that held an individual, then there'd be different experiences in life. I won't get into all the details there. There'll be different experiences in life. It takes more than a physical look to hold on to somebody. Because at the end of the day, a person's physical look won't take care of you the way you need to be taken care of, won't be a good parent. I'm talking about for both men and women, whatever. You have to bring more to the table than your body shape and your body type. All right. Now, I know this is hard in this, how can I say this nicely? In this social media filtered build a body lifestyle, where you can present something on picture that is not reality in real life. Contour all this stuff, filter everything, and then when the person sees you in public, it's like, what's the scene in, what's the movie, the Wayne's movie where, she started taking her hair off, but took her eyelashes off, and then I'm gonna get you sucker, and then took her leg off, and then, all that stuff, where it's not, we're presenting something that's not actual reality. And social media and online has allowed us to perpetrate a fraud and show something that we know is not reality. And then wonder why when people meet us in person, they're like, hold up real quick. Because why? What we're presenting is not matched in real life. The person that God has for you will love you. And I'm not saying you can't ever whatever, have makeup on or whatever. But what I'm saying is if we're used to over filtering everything, overdoing everything to present a look that we find acceptable. But eventually the real person is going to meet you. I know people, guys that will stand in front of somebody else's car, have somebody take a picture of it to act like it's their car. It just trying to prove a point, you know, that screams of a lack of self-security. We have to learn to be secure in ourselves and learn to grow. Because why? Our security is found in God. Now, third thing, focus on your work and your purpose. Focus on your work and your purpose. Don't chase relationships. Chase your work, your purpose. Chase God, chase your work. Live intentionally about what you want to do with life. Because you have to manage your regrets. Manage your regrets. One of my things that I said myself when I was younger is I don't want to be somebody 50, 60 years old with the I shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Manage your regrets. If I get 50, 60 years old and I realize that I went through all my life and did not achieve all these things that I wanted to achieve because I was chasing something frivolous, how will I feel about myself? So focus on your God-given life, your God-given purpose, your God-given purpose. Because why? If you focus on that, usually the relationships that God has for you are attached to that. We pursue God. We pursue the work that he gave us. God told Adam in the garden, work the garden, leave the tree alone. He gave him an assignment. And then later on, gave him a person to help him work that assignment. But if I'm not working in this, my relationships are connected to my work in this thing. So we have to make sure that we're pursuing the mission that God has given to us. And a part of that is well done. Part of that is my work and following him, journeying him, because my goal is I want to hear him say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Next thing, evaluate your motives. Evaluate your motives. Why do you want somebody? We all need companionship. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying things wrong with that, but evaluate your motives. Wanting a person because you're lonely is different than desiring a relationship for companionship. Wanting somebody to ease your loneliness is different than wanting a relationship for companionship. Because you'd be surprised how many lonely married people there are because they have a body in the house, but they don't have a partner in the house. The goal is not to have a body or a person, just to have somebody. The goal is to have a partner. And I've seen and counseled so many who, because they were just tired of being by themselves or because they were lonely or whatever, they would just simply pursue a person, and then only to discover that they're just simply a shell and they have nothing else to present besides just them being there. And they become miserable in the relationship because they want the person to do more. But watch this. They fell in love with flesh and discovered this person did not have a mutually attractive bone. No mutual attractive strength. Because why? You have to evaluate your motives. And everybody, loneliness is not a feeling that's uncommon for people, but how I fulfill that loneliness is the thing. Because again, you can have somebody and still feel by yourself. Don't date to fill a gap. Don't date to fill a gap, to fill this hole. People can help. I remember watching, I think it was Rocky 1, and he mentioned something about dating because it fills holes. That's not the way we do it. All right. Because people can help you, but they're not God. Evaluate your motives. I hear people say, well, I just want a friend. Well, what kind of friend do you want? Somebody I can go out to eat with, somebody I can talk to, somebody I can confide with, share my secrets with, somebody I can hang out with, somebody I can so and so. And I'm like, that's a relationship. That is not a friendship. Just say I want a relationship. Nothing wrong with that. But the reality is that we have to evaluate our motives, because there's a difference between having somebody in your life than it is to have a partner in your life. And everybody's been there before where you had somebody, but they were not a partner. All right, so let me do this last one and I'll do the rest next month. Ask yourself this question. It's number 4. What's a spouse to you? You want to get married, you want a spouse. What is a spouse to you? Not only what do you expect from a spouse, but what do you expect from yourself as a spouse? What do I expect from the person? What do I expect from myself? We often have a lot of expectations for someone else, but don't have those same expectations for ourselves. We want them to be this, and this. And then the question is, am I fulfilling what I want in somebody else? You know, or do I have more expectation for others than I have for myself? But I need you to spell out, what's a spouse to you? What does a husband look like to you? What does a wife look like to you? So for me, when we were in premarital counseling, Bishop asked us the question, and the question was, what's a spouse to me? What do I think a husband looks like? And then what do I think a wife looks like? So what I expect from her. Then for same thing with her, what is a white husband to her expectation for me? And what does a wife look like to her expectation for her? We have to look at these expectations and see, am I bringing more than me to the table? I hate to burst your bubble, some people's bubble. You are not the main prize. Because the reality is that, I get we're supposed to know our worth. I get we're supposed to know that we can benefit other people. But the reality is that we have to bring more than just us to the table, more than just our body, and more than a knife and a fork. What does a spouse look like to you? What do I bring to the table? What can the other person, what do I expect from the other person to bring to the table? Those things have got to be considered. All right. Before we really even have this conversation about marriage, these conversations have to happen beforehand, because why? What do we expect? What can I bring to the table besides a knife and a fork, or being able to cook some chicken? There's more than that, or be able to fix a car. There's more than that. Can I be what I expect from the other person? We may not do the same things, but I can bring something to the table besides just myself. So glad you joined us tonight. We'll pick this up for next month in June. Please do me a favor and share this if it helped you. Comment, tag somebody, and get somebody on. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night for Bible study. And then, of course, on point on Saturday. And if the weather is good, we will have church outside at 11 o'clock. If you missed it, you need to come out. God's been saving people, connecting folk to the church. Spirit's been moving. It's good to see people. Come on out to